No nonsense gin drinking. All gin, no nonsense.
Hello gin lovers, welcome back. I'm Bobby Freeman. This is No Nonsense Gin Drinking, the only show on YouTube where you can watch a man in a red shirt in front of a hastily painted and quite poor quality wall talking about gin. And today on the show, my friends, we have another celebrity gin for you. We've had a few of these over the years now, and most of the time they've been pretty good. I'm always sort of ready to sort of slam them down because they're just sort of resting on the fact they're, you know, sort of got a celebrity backing and all that, but mostly they've been pretty good. So some of you may or may not know this celebrity. Hang on, I'll tell you the celebrity in a minute. Let me introduce you to it first. It goes by the name of Schofes Winter Gin, or it could be Schofes. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's Schof or Schofes. I'm not very good at reading. And some of you, some of my viewers from the United Kingdom may well have guessed who endorses, the celebrity that endorses this gin, because his name is Phillip Schofield. Now, I'm pretty sure, I'm fairly certain, I can't go definitive, I'm fairly certain he is just UK celebrity. He's UK famous. He's very, very famous here. He's a TV presenter that's been, oh man, he's been around for years and years. He used to present kids' TV shows when I was a kid, and he now presents daytime TV, and he's got very grey hair. In fact, I would describe him as a silver fox, a very handsome and attractive man. I don't know why I'm going on about how handsome and attractive he is. But anyway, my point is he has endorsed or helped make, I don't know how much he had, how much of a hand he had in the making of the gin, I do not know, but he's put his name to it anyway, to this gin, Schof or Schofes gin, I don't know. And apparently he's a gin lover. I think they have a section on their show, it's called, I don't even know what it's called, Good Morning, I think, which is actually quite apt because I used to film this show very, very early in the morning, about 5 or 6 o'clock, but I had to stop because the neighbours were talking when I came out reeking of gin every morning. But anyway, I've gabbled on enough, let's crack on. Find out a bit about this Schofes, whatever it's called, and taste it and find out what it's like. I tell you what, it's smooth today, isn't it? So apparently he brought one out at Christmas called Schofes or Schofes Christmas Gin, and this one's going to follow it. But it doesn't seem to make sense what it says on the website here, unless I'm reading it really wrong. It says, after the launch of Schofes Winter Gin last year, Schofes Winter Gin, this is the second exciting gin made in collaboration with us. Who is us? Who's us? Oh, it's gone. It's always an exciting point in the show when the phone cover falls over. As we know, once it's gone, it stays down. That is it. Okay, here we go. So us is referring to the Craft Gin Club. In fact, the Craft Gin Club have got their logo on there. If you don't know what the Craft Gin Club is, look it up, because to be honest, I can't be asked to give them any promotion now because they're way more successful than I am, but go and look them up. Schofes Christmas Gin was a truly festive gin. It was wonderfully warming from the first sip. But this year, Phil wanted to go for something a little bit different. The gin was absolutely brilliant, but you get to a point after Christmas, this is just a load of old bollocks, this, honestly. I'm just going to crack on with it to tell you what's in it. Honestly, just endless quotes about nothingness. Here we go. Tasting notes. This is what we're here for. Right, tasting notes. Subtle on the nose with some potent citrus. It leans towards the orange side of the scale. A little bit like me, I like to think. Not entirely sure what that means, but I like the sound of it. The palate has a warming sweetness with some piney elements. Not usually that keen on pine, but you know, I'll accept it on this occasion. But largely sweet and almost biscuity. Again, a little bit like me. On the finish, the sweetness stays and some winter warming spices come through. Now, admittedly, it's actually coming to the end of winter here and we're almost into summer, but I suppose you could be watching this at any point. So if it really bothers you that much, press pause now and start watching again in the winter. Botanicals, so here's what we're talking about. So the normal ones at the start, obviously the juniper, the coriander, the angelica, the orange, the lemon, the cassia, the nutmeg, cloves, orris. Now here's where it starts to get a little bit more original. Cranberry, spruce, and clementine. Now clementine or clementine, however you want to pronounce it, that's in a lot of gins, but cranberry, I reckon that's probably a first. And given by the bottle, I would never have guessed. To me, it looks like a kind of a piney bottle, if you can imagine such a thing. So that all sounds pretty good to me, my friends. I say we split her open, crack her open, pop her open, and see what she's like in the old mouth. So then, it has got one of these plasticky things, which, as my regular viewers know, do cause rather a lot of difficulty on the channel because I can never get the damn things open. Sometimes I manage to talk over it and manage to get to the point by the end of my, it sounds quite natural when I come to a natural finish, and manage to get my finger just under and able to pull it off like that consummately professional as ever, and it does have a cork, so we know what that means. Is it any type of cork test? Any particular type? Phillip Schofield's cork test? That sounds a bit weird. No, I just think it's the good old-fashioned cork test.
The good old-fashioned cork test.
So here we go, going in for a squeak. Hello, my friend. It is the return of Mr. Squeak. I tell you what, that's one of the best squeaks we've ever had on the show. Let's see if it can follow it up with a good pull. Here we go. Oh! Wow! Possibly the best cork squeak combination I think we've ever had. But of course, it doesn't really matter. It's just a bit of fun. So, mon friends, as they say in France, or they probably don't. Well, I was half right. Mon, mine, friends, I don't know. By the way, don't forget to check out my other YouTube channel, How to Learn French with Bobby Freeman. So then, let's get the old nostrils in there and give it a good sniff. So, and I guarantee you now, you will not see a dance like that anywhere else on YouTube, probably for good reason. Anyway, let me try and describe that to you. It's a kind of I'd say it lives up to its kind of reputation, to its name, I should say. It's a very kind of wintry, kind of festive-y kind of smell. It is quite piney, but and I'm not a big fan of pine in the gin, to be honest, but it's quite piney, but offset with a kind of a nice, how would you say it, a sparkly sort of fruitsome, which I'm fairly sure is not a word, but I'm going to go with it, a fruitsome kind of orangey, and in fact I would say a clementine or a clementine. I shall never know what is the correct pronunciation of that word, and you know what, I don't bloody want to. But together they're working very, very nicely. It's weird, but sometimes you can have flavours you perhaps don't usually like or you find quite overpowering, like the pine. But sometimes, when used intelligently, they can kind of offset each other, much like when you get lavender in gins, like old Steve the bartender's gin up there. I'm not a big fan of lavender, but used in a very delicate way can be excellent. So, what I want to know is, can I get the cranberries? I don't think so. I think they're slightly overpowered by everything else. But anyway, let's stop sniffing because that is ridiculous and start tasting because that is awesome. So, let's make a little gin and tonic for it. What is the ABV on this little fella? I don't know why I went all Irish there. It's 40. I can't see the bastard. Let me get my glasses on. It is written very small there. 40%. Oh shit! I almost spill the bloody things. 40%. So not too strong. So let's make a little gin and tonic with it. A little bit of tonic. About that much, I reckon. So here we go. Thank you as ever to my wonderful, I forgot to take my glasses off. Thank you as ever to all my wonderful patrons and YouTube members who are literally paying for the gin on this show. This is Schofes or Schofes Winter Gin. I say to you one and all, cheers. Ooh. Well, wow. Do you know what? On the first tipple over the tongue, if you can forgive me a rather pretentious expression, I thought it was just going to be pretty mundane, but I tell you what, it's all those flavours in there, and there's a lot of flavours in there. As I've said before, with a good gin, it's all about balancing those flavours, and I tell you what, they are balanced pretty damn well. I would say it's very, very much like the aroma, like the scent, like the smell. That's 3 different words for the same thing for you. You're welcome. So what I mean by that is it is quite piney. I've got a sort of a sense of the forest. I feel like I'm in a forest. It doesn't look like I'm in a forest. I'm in my garage. There's a lawnmower over there and a bag of cement that's gone hard. But I do, nonetheless, I feel like I'm in a forest. Which is not usually, when it comes to gin, in my book anyway, a good thing. So I don't like pininess. I'm not happy with it, and I don't like it. It makes me very, very angry when I drink it in my gin. However, my friends, how bloody ever. Let me just... Wow. It's cunningly, I wouldn't say, the pininess, this is it. The pininess is cunningly woven in there, and much like I said before, in the way that Steve the bartender did with the lavender in his, just a slight touch, like a smidgen. I'm pretty sure that's not a word either. I think it's a word that only gets used in the place where I grew up. A tinsy tiny smidgen, an infinitesimal scattering, if you can imagine such a thing, of pine. But backed up and kind of almost overpowered, almost, but not quite, by this luscious, kind of fruity, almost a little bit bitter, but just a few tendrils of spicy orange, backed up with just a sort of a hint of juniper, not massively, to be honest. It's more, as it said, leaning towards the orange side of things. That's a bang on description they put there. And then just when you think that's all over, I'm really looking for the cranberry in here because I think that's a really interesting botanical. The cranberry kind of comes just very, very delicately in the aftertaste. As you've swallowed, it gives a little bit of a, and it does make that noise as well. Just a little tiny of cranberry just to swallow it. And you might wonder if that's a little bit too much flavour. I don't know if you saw, but I spat 2 droplets of spit just over there. Again, something you do not get on other YouTube channels. But I'm telling you what, I wasn't sure about this, but that is a bloody good gin. So then, let's see what it's like neat, shall we? I'm going to have it in my no-nonsense gin drinking mug. If you want one of these, click on the little icon below this video, and you too can be drinking gin, although I wouldn't recommend it, out of a incredibly mediocre quality and slightly off-centered pictured mug. So here we go. Again, kind of loses a lot. All those flavours are truly unlocked with the tonic. In fact, I'm not even going to go into any more detail because that I'm just going to, I'm not even going to request or recommend. I'm going to demand you drink this one with tonic. Even if you don't like tonic, I demand it anyway because I'm that sort of person. However, my friends, how bloody ever has this sort of celebrity endorsement, or this UK celebrity endorsement, affected what you're going to pay for this little chap? Well, I have bloody good news for you. This little chap comes in at a very, very pleasing, a Freeman pleasing £35, which is between the £30 and £40 bracket, which I like to pay for lesser known gins. I mean, it is a lesser known gin. Okay, there's a celebrity element of it, but which could have pushed it up. I'm about to do a large burp, so I'll do a jump cut. Hold on a second. Oh my God, that feels so much better. I cannot tell you. But anyway, I think that's an excellent price. That's around, to give you an idea, about $43 or about sort of 40-ish euros, and I would say I would be very, very happy to pay that, especially with, I don't give a damn about celebrity endorsement, to be honest. It's kind of pointless, although you can't deny the results, but you also cannot deny that's a really good price gin. So then, gin lovers, so to sum up, as I said, I was kind of skeptical. I don't know why. I just thought Phil was probably, he obviously hasn't got enough money with all the TV presenting he does and the We Buy Any Car adverts. He clearly hasn't got enough money and thought he needs to make a few extra quid. But I honestly, I don't know if you've had anything to do with it. Phil, if you're watching, almost certainly not. I don't know if you've had anything to do with the gin, but if you did, then you clearly have very good taste, because I think that's a fantastic core gin. It is a core gin. There's a few different botanicals in there, but there's nothing weird and wonderful. I certainly wouldn't call it a novelty gin, but I'd say that would hold its own against any of the core standard ones that we've got, certainly against the mainstream ones. In fact, I'd actually prefer it over and above some of the mainstream ones. So I'm very, very happy with that. So I say to my, who I consider a very good friend, in fact, I think we are best friends, Mr. Phillip Schofield, keep up the good work. So guys, if you've enjoyed this video today, if you found it useful, informative, I think I've said that before and I'm fairly certain that's not a word, but if you did, I'm going to stick with it. If you did find it informative or indeed informative, then please don't forget to express how informed you were by clicking the like button and subscribing to my channel, or even if you were informed to such an extent, then you could head over to my Patreon page, join my patrons and become a channel supporter, and you can also do that by clicking the button below, the join button, which will have you entering the realms of my YouTube members. And of course you could buy some medium quality tat here by clicking on the emblems below as well. But until next time guys, you all know the drill. Take care, stay safe. Thank you to all my patrons and YouTube members, and keep drinking the gin.